Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. My name is Blair Bazada. I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager here at Oracle. I'd like to welcome you to today's live webinar event, Unifying Customer Insights within Fusion CX Analytics. Before we kick off, just wanted to remind everybody that if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A box in Zoom, not the chat box. That's where we'll see them, and we will address them all at the end. Before we kick things off, just wanted to intro our special guest speakers today, Becky Uribe and Nan Nguyen, who are both joining us from Experian. And I would now like to launch a couple of polls just to kind of get an idea of who's joined us today. The first is, are you currently an Oracle Eloqua customer? And are you currently using Salesforce as your CRM tool? And in addition to myself and our Experian guests, we have product experts joining us today. Naren Chawla, the head of product management here at Oracle, is going to walk us through a brief introduction to the product. And Mayank Bayaj is going to show us a demo after Experian presents to us and tells us their story. And we look about an even split yes and no on both questions. So that's always interesting to see. And without any further ado, I will turn the microphone over to Naren.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Blair. Good to meet you virtually, everybody of you. I'm head of the product management team. I think what I'll do is I'll set up why we created this product. And again, I'm super grateful to Experian, one of our customers who have agreed to gracefully talk about their implementation of the product. So as all of you probably know, in B2B customer journey, there are multiple steps. You run a campaign, you create leads, the leads enter your CRM system, whether Salesforce or Sales Cloud. You run a sales cycle, and then subsequently you have a mini cycle from a quoting perspective as well. And then you build a customer, and then you get sort of invoices and cash in the system itself. So as you can see, it's a long journey with multiple steps into it. Now, the problem is, after talking to so many customers, we realized is that the analytics is quite fragmented. What we find is that each of these silos that you mentioned, they kind of do their own analytics. So marketing team, I know for a fact that they have their own stack. They build a lot of sort of tools from marketing analytics perspective. Sales as well, they have their own either embedded reporting, or they use some tools for sales analytics or sales intelligence. Same with service, same with quote and finance, and so on and so forth, right? So then each of these teams probably have like their own siloed views of the world, if I may. What we realize is that we need to create one source of revenue truth, because this is all sort of revenue functions. What if we can actually bring front office, mid office, back office into one place? And that's what this product was designed to do, where we have one place to get not only marketing sales data as well, but from mid office CPQ subscription, and also back office finance, supply chain as well, into one place. Now, getting the data in one place is not just like throwing everything together in a data lake or anything like that, but actually we made the data connected. So our IP at Oracle is creating a semantic model and a data model, which is pre-packaged to the backend systems that you're using. Now, why do we do that? Because we can fuel what we call revenue intelligence, or power revenue intelligence. Because now that you have full view of your entire revenue cycle, that leads to for improving your win rates, retentions, acquiring profitable customers, and so on and so forth. So to reiterate, right, from if you're an Oracle customer, I'm pretty sure you're using some of the systems on the left-hand side. And our customers struggle today. How can they, first of all, get data out from analytics perspective, even for a single system? Now, what we have done is we have built a native Oracle managed pipeline in such a way that we basically give me the URL of the backend system. I'll move data directly into the warehouse, and I've created a revenue data model. And our goal is to cover all the Oracle applications, cloud applications that we have, including Salesforce. So Salesforce is not an Oracle application, but we treat it like an Oracle application for several reasons. A lot of our customers use Salesforce. So you can, from a product perspective, consider Salesforce as a native Oracle applications. We are able to get data out and build semantic and data model. And Becky will talk about a lot about that as well. But coming back to the key point is that, look, we can get all this data into one place. And my team has built this curated revenue data model in such a way that, for example, if you have an account in Eloqua, account in Salesforce, they are kind of confirmed together. Or more importantly, if you have a sold to customer in, say, Salesforce, and you have the same customer in ERP system, you can join this, very easily as opposed to trying to create a joins yourself. So this revenue data model is the key IP, key productivity gain that you gain by using our system. On top of that, we have sprinkled a lot of AI on top of it, and we are growing that as well. So we have built a lot of algorithms. Our goal is to provide you outcomes. So these are some of the outcomes that we have put. Multi-touch attribution, for example, is a very difficult problem. There is still sort of works to be done from an AI perspective, trying to figure causal relationships, what actually moves the needle. The more important thing is the closed loop reporting and campaign effectiveness. And that's what Experian did actually. They brought Eloqua and Salesforce data together. Now they're able to actually find, actually have some notion of that if they invest X amount of dollars in marketing, how are they influencing the opportunities in this case. Uh, and then the system, like today we're going to talk about marketing analytics, but I want to point out actually we do have more than that, in the sense that this is marketing intelligence, but the broader product covers what you call revenue intelligence. So you can actually even bring data from subscription cloud and ERP and CPU cloud as well, where you can do some pricing intelligence. You can ask questions about profitable customers and much more, I guess. But today we'll focus more on the marketing intelligence part. And then one final comment is there's huge extensibility we have invested in the platform. So we are not limited to Oracle only data, but the system is designed for you to bring non-Oracle data. For example, at Experian, we are working with bringing Adobe data. We'll bring 6sense data in future as well. We'll have pre-built connectors to LinkedIn, Zoom Info, you name it, right? So our goal actually is to provide extensibility and then also treat non-Oracle data as a key part of the system itself in future. So then I think I'll just quickly go through use cases. But basically, the idea is Experience will talk about their business problem, and then Mayank on my team actually will show the demo as well. But this is one of the key use cases I talked about, being able to do closed loop reporting with multiple attribution models. We're still kind of trying to do some deep learning and algorithms like that to improve the attribution model. Super excited about that. We also this is the sort of bread and butter, being able to provide you campaign ROI, if I may. And this dashboards that Becky will show will help the CMO and the team in general figure out that if I invest X dollars in marketing, how much value I'm getting, what channels are working, what channels are not working. So actually, you can be very effective in future marketing budget as well. Where to invest, which kind of campaigns to invest. And then more importantly, because we're able to marry the CRM, Salesforce data in this case, actually I can see the impact of marketing. So we can overlay, for instance, the responses, the campaign activities that we have or responses we're getting, and how actually we are moving the needle, or in this case, moving the opportunity from one state to other stage as well. So this gives you that granular way of looking at a particular opportunity, particular account, and find out, which is what is working from a marketing perspective. And there are much more. I think in interest of time, we will just jump into our customers, and they'll talk about their use case.
So at this point, I'd like to invite Becky and Nan to take the microphone and walk us through their story.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Blair. Thanks, Naren, for that intro. So Nan and I will talk to you about just kind of what problems we were looking to solve on the Experian side, like why were we on the market for like a marketing attribution tool, like Naren was describing. We'll give you a glimpse into some of the dashboards that we built and what went behind that, and then share a little bit about the impact to the business, and then also what we have planned for the future for this tool for us. So the reason we did have a marketing attribution tool in place for a few years, and we were running metrics, just basic marketing influence numbers out of there, but it was very limited. So we were in the market for a replacement tool for kind of these 4 core reasons. So we were looking for something that could integrate with third parties, so like Drift, 6sense, Adobe Analytics, things like that. Our previous tool did not offer that. So that led to problems with scalability. We weren't looking to get rid of any of those tools just so that we could work in the marketing attribution tool that we were currently in. So we were looking for that in a new tool. Customizable dashboards. Our previous tool, we had dashboards out of box, but we couldn't manipulate them. We were kind of had this set group of metrics that we could drag and drop into there, but that was it. And we were limited to that. So as we're looking to scale, as we're doing new types of campaigns and whatnot, we really needed the flexibility. So we were looking for some customizable dashboards. Also the predictive AI. So the ability to predict what kind of campaign ROI we might get from a specific effort, or, anything else, opportunity values and things like that. Our previous tool did not have that. And that's, as you all know, is the way of the future. And so that was a must for us as well. So just a glimpse into kind of our vendor evaluation. On the screen here is 4 final vendors, but we really started out with about 9 or 10 leading marketing attribution tools, and quickly disqualified a handful of them and landed kind of on these 4. But what stood out with Oracle, some key points were they could do a single instance for all of our business units. So Nana and I sit on one business unit, but there are actually 3 other business units at Experian that are onboarded onto this tool. And we hope for many more. We hope for 8 total in North America, and then even globally, a few more outside of North America. So the ability to all be in a single platform, not have multiple platforms, that leads to issues with like multiple URLs, multiple Okta sign-ins, things like that. So it just layers on the complexity. So a single instance was a must for us, with the ability to filter and run BU specific reports. So each business unit reports slightly different, but then we also, in a handful of ways, report the same. So we needed the flexibility to do both. I think that's a key one. And also, I guess just a key point to mention, Oracle is an existing vendor for us. We are Eloqua customers. And so just the ease of onboarding, the reputability of Oracle, we knew that if we scaled, Oracle isn't going to go anywhere. Some of these vendors looked really cool, but we're fairly small, fairly new, and just the longevity of the relationship was a bit unknown. So. And I'll hand it over to Nan to talk a little bit about our integration and what types of reports we ran specifically in CX.
All right. Thanks, Becky. So this is a quick view of a workbook we've built. I know Maya and team are going to show more of the interface, but this shows our influence versus total revenue year over year. At the top, you'll notice it's filtered by the fiscal year, Salesforce opportunity type, and one specific business unit within Experian. And to quickly explain influence, in a Salesforce opportunity, we're able to view all campaigns that the contact is a member of. And in this report, we're looking at campaigns specific to the filtered business unit that influence the opportunity close. At the workbook level, we've applied our branded colors, as you can see, and we can further customize the styling for each of the graphs. Then towards the bottom, we have additional canvases per tab that drill down further into this view by specific Salesforce campaign types and by the individual opportunities. And we can also easily export any of these individual graphs into CSVs, PDFs, etc. So there was a lot of work to get to where we are with this view, and Oracle was very helpful in walking us through the different areas and creating custom calculations, bring in our custom fields from all the different Salesforce objects and dimensions for marketing attribution models, like the multi-touch evenly weighted that is being used here. And then one more thing I'll point out is the data that's shown is refreshed daily via the Salesforce connector, which is nice compared to some of the manual processes that we had currently with our other platforms. And to the right, we've highlighted that we have 27 million contacts, 60 million email sends, and 4 million opportunities that are coming in from both Eloqua and Salesforce. So quite a bit of data that CX Analytics is able to manage, and it's fairly smooth in the UI. So that's been great. And this view is specific to just the Salesforce subject areas, but we also have other dashboards using the Eloqua integration. And as Naren mentioned earlier, we're currently working on joining the Eloqua and Salesforce data into one view, which we'll get into later.
And so just to, and again, Naren mentioned this earlier as well, but just the impact to the business, like what all of this reporting that Nan mentioned provides to us, the customer journey insight. So being able to identify where in the lead journeys an account or a lead is dropping off, so that we can make improvements on the marketing side. Smarter attribution, like again, going back to that ROI, knowing exactly or being able to predict precisely or close to precisely what we will get out of a campaign helps us plan for the future. Better forecasting, and also the stronger marketing and sales alignment. And I don't want to diminish like even just aligning the different marketing teams, right? Having us all on reporting similarly, all using the same tool, consistent metrics, and so on. So from one business to another, we are consistent. Our numbers will change, but the foundation is the same. And the ability to open up users to sales, having sales use the same, or product teams that are involved in our campaigns, having them go in and self-serve as well, and just having consistent across the board, no matter what business they're supporting, has been a huge help.
All right. So as I mentioned earlier, we're working on combining the Eloqua and Salesforce data, among others, in the future state to provide a unified view of an account's journey. So for phase one, we've color-coded the funnel here. So blue represents our website data from Adobe Analytics, purple is engagement tracked in Eloqua, and pink represents revenue in Salesforce. And in the middle for phase two, we plan to migrate all of our Tableau dashboards and manually maintain Python scripts over to CX Analytics to help streamline the process.
Thanks, guys. Awesome. I would love to turn the screen and the mic over to Mayank at this point to run through some actual live demos of the product.
Okay, so we are going to run through a couple of demos around unified analytics that FDI offers, right? So the first one would be the unified marketing analytics, right? Basically combining the data that is coming from your sales system, may it be say Fusion Sales or Salesforce, whatever CRM that you are using, right? And the second one would be a more broader view of say combining your front office systems data with your back office system, something like ERP, SCM, HCM, whatever you have, right? So let's dive into the first one, right? Assume I'm a CMO or a marketing or VP of marketing for a company called Supremo Power, right? So, and my team has been running certain marketing campaigns over, say, last few months, right? So apart from the vanity metrics that I have in my marketing system, right, which is like how my campaigns are performing, or how many emails got delivered, how many emails were opened, right? Siloed in your marketing system, these are the metrics that you typically see, right? If I also want to view that in cohesion with the sales system, right, connecting directly with the revenue side of it. So basically the cost that I'm bearing on my marketing campaigns that I'm running, right, how does it actually is helping my business generating the revenue, right? So this is something that I would like to see as a CMO or a VP of marketing, right? So what this dashboard shows is how many leads are basically existing in the sales system in the current period versus the previous period. How many leads were generated in the last 3 months. So this is all the data that is coming in from the sales system, right? Which a CMO or a VP of marketing is seeing. And this is actually giving him the impact that his his team is making on the overall business, right? Then leads by campaign type, right? So you can see which campaign types are actually working. So in this particular scenario, you see that webinar is most effective in generating leads for your business, right? Then the overall revenue and the influence revenue. So if you see here, for example, for month of November, right, the overall revenue was this, and then total influence revenue that is affected by your marketing campaigns that you run. So this is generally giving a view that what is the impact that your marketing campaigns and marketing activities are having on the overall business. Then the influence revenue month on month, right? So these can also act like a leading indicator for your business, the actions that you need to take, right, in your business. For example, your influence revenue peaked in the month of November here. So you can go back and analyze that what things you did rightly in the month of November, or what kind of campaigns you ran in your systems, right? That actually got more influence revenue, right? So apart from just being a lagging indicator, right, more like this, more like a prescriptive analytics or just a plain analytics, you can also take these more like a leading indicator, right, which can help you drive your business. Then influence revenue by different campaign types is what you can see. And this is just a sample dashboard, right? Based on the business requirements that you have, since we have all the underlying data coming in from the marketing and sales system, you can build out any sort of dashboard depending on what you want to see on your dashboards. Then top 5 influence revenue and top 5 influence deals, right? Now I want to, as a VP of marketing, I want to dig deeper into one opportunity, right? So these are my top 10 opportunities. I just want to go deeper into this and see what effect marketing had on this opportunity. So I just select this and I go into opportunity details. Now, this gives me a view of this particular opportunity. So it shows that I have 28 campaign responses. This opportunity in the sales system went through 5-stage changes, right, till closure. I had 7 people influenced. This is more like a buying group in the marketing terminology, right? So 7 people were influenced by the campaigns that I ran, 5 unique campaigns that were ran in my marketing system. This is an interesting chart, which is more like a blended view of marketing plus sales, right? So the vertical lines that you see on this graph are the state changes that are happening in your sales system, right? And the green trend line are the marketing activities that are happening in your marketing system. So what view this gives is, as the activities are happening in your marketing system, that is actually helping in moving the opportunity towards closure, right? Right. So it is helping in basically moving the opportunity within your funnel, right? So this is an interesting chart which a CMO or a VP marketing can take to say CXOs, right, in order to justify the investment that is coming in the marketing, right, in basically running the campaigns in the marketing system, right? And the detailed view of opportunity with stage details. So when did the stage change, right? When did it move from qualification to analysis and finally to closure, right? And if you want more detailed view, right, which contact basically interacted with the marketing, which campaign name, right, on what date, right, is what can be viewed in detail, right? What you can also see as a VP marketing or a CMO is more like a bird's eye view, right, from a marketing point of view. So you can see the total number of opportunities that are existing in your sales system, right? And how many of those are actually influenced by your marketing system, right? So out of total amount of say 94 million, right, your marketing campaigns actually influence a revenue of close to 90 million, and this itself is a strong figure, strong reason to justify for investing, say, or allotting a more budget into your marketing activities, right? So it's basically connecting all the activities and all the campaigns that you are running in your marketing system, right, to the actual outcome, right, to the actual business outcome, and not just looking at the vanity metrics around a pure play vanity metrics around the campaign performance and other stuff. Right, the last one is around attribution. So in FDI, we have by default 4 out of the box attribution models. In single touch, we have first touch and last touch, and then in multi-touch, we have equated attribution as well as U-shaped attribution. Now, this shows here we are given an example of first touch and last touch attribution, right? So the purple lines are basically showing the influence revenue based on the first touch attribution, while the blue bars are actually showing you the influence revenue based on the last touch attribution. So if we look closely, right, typically in a marketing world, the first touch is basically good for putting your foot into a new account. Sort of, if you are trying to get into a new account, right, you would typically see that event like Cloud World has the largest influence revenue, right, which is on first touch, right? So it's a good idea if you are trying to get into a new account. It's a good idea to basically go via or use the channel as the Cloud World event. While if you are trying to close a deal, you are somewhere into a negotiation stage or very close to closing a deal, right? Meetings are the more effective because these have the maximum revenue based on the last touch, right? So, I mean, typical insights that you can gain based on the different attribution models. Here we have just tried to give an example of the first touch and last touch. And apart from the out of the box, right, there is also an extensibility feature, and logics can be built even to bring in other attribution models if your business requires to do so. Right. So this was the first one, which is more around unified marketing and sales. Right. Now the next one that we wanted to show is a more broader view. All right. So assume, say, I am a sales manager who has been allocated multiple accounts. Right. So I want to go deeper into one of the accounts that I hold. Right. And assume you're a customer who uses Eloqua for marketing, and then you have, say, Salesforce or CX Fusion Sales for sales. Then you have Fusion ERP, subscription, CPQ, all sorts of back office system, right? So if you want to get a holistic view of accounts and blending the data from front office and back office systems, right? This is one of the dashboards, and again, this is an example dashboard. Built on the out-of-the-box subject areas. Depending on the business needs that your business have, the other dashboards can be easily built since we have the underlying data already sitting in a common ADW, right? So for a particular account, you could see that what are my qualified leads by different channels, right? This is built on the data that is coming from sales and marketing. Then open pipeline for different products. Again, something that is built on data coming in from Fusion Sales or Salesforce. Won and lost revenue across the timeline. Again, something built on Fusion Sales data. Then activity rate for opportunities which are in different status, right? Won and lost revenue based on different channels that you are using for closing a deal. Then revenue by product, right? So this is the data that would come in from your back office ERP system where you are actually logging in the revenue for the products. The active MRR trend for your different products across the timeline. Now, this would be coming in from your subscription system, right? So again, you see, these are the data that was coming in from the front office system, while these two are coming in from your back office system. Now, since we have a unified data model, right, across CX and as well as other pillars, we will be able to build something like this, wherein we can blend the data from both the back office and the front office systems. Then we can have cancellation and return trends, right? If we have physical products that are getting delivered. Now, this would be something which would be coming in from your supply chain management system. Bookings, invoice, and revenue, again, coming in from your ERP system. And if you're planning a visit to the customer, right, and you would want to know the open SRs, right, you can basically see the number of customer SRs that are in resolved stage or new SRs that have been raised by this particular account customer, right? Something that will come in from your service system. Right. So the view that we wanted to give here was it's not just the front office system that you can basically build dashboards on and blend in the data. If you have multiple back office systems as well from Oracle, you can bring in the data and basically blend in that data as well and see the unified analytics based on that as well. The last one that we want to showcase is an upcoming feature, right? So this is a recorded demo since this is still in development, so we did not want to take a risk with an unstable dev environment, right? So this is a new feature that is based on Gen AI, is what will be in FDI very soon and available to customers, right? So assume I'm like a sales head or someone who has different territories, right? And I want to do certain quick analysis on, say, which are my top performing territories or which are my top opportunities, all that sort of stuff, right? So what I would typically do in FDI is I would go and try to build a workbook. Right now, the first subject area that we are enabling in CX for this AI assistant is the opportunity revenue line subject area, which is what I would select here. Right, so I select the opportunity revenue line subject area. Now, this is in today's world, right? So the subject area appears on left, and all the dimensions and facts will appear with it. What the sales manager would do typically is drag and drop the attributes from the dimensions and facts that he wants to see on on the canvas, right? So that's a typical way, and that's also a seamless user experience. But we are going one step ahead, wherein uh, we have this bulb icon on top right? So if you click on it and if you go to the A Assistant tab, right, this would actually open the AI assistant. Now, this allows the sales manager or the person interacting with the assistant to just have a natural language conversation with the assistant, right? And assistant would contextually understand the query, get the right, uh, go to the right dimension, go to a particular attribute, get the data, and then build the appropriate visuals automatically, right? So there's more like having a natural conversation. This can be used like if you want answers to certain questions immediately, or if you are trying to build a presentation or a dashboard, this can act as a starting point, right? Rather than dragging and dropping different attributes on your canvas. So as an example, if I just put a question here as a sales manager that which territory is performing the best, right? Now, it might take some time to load, as I said, because there's a dev environment. So now, if you notice here, I did not give the context of show me the best performing territory based on revenue line. So the assistant is intelligent enough to understand that context, right? And it will return the top performing territory based on the opportunity revenue line. Right. So what you see here is returned a territory as NA West Products 1 is the top performing category, and by default it identified, or it took that it has to be a top performing category based on the opportunity revenue line. In the question, I nowhere mentioned that I need the territory based on the opportunity revenue line. Now, if I put another question as top 10 open opportunities, again, no context given that I need top 10 open opportunities. And if you notice here, I deliberately made a mistake in opportunities, right? So, I mean, all these smaller mistakes that we typically do while, interacting with a chatbot sort of tool, right, is inherently understood, and assistant is intelligent enough to basically get the context of the question itself, right? So then it gives me the top 10 opportunities based on the revenue line. Right now, a couple of things to be highlighted here, right? You see some action buttons here, right? So you have chart type. So by default, it gives you the best chart type, but you have an option of changing the chart type if it doesn't suit your need. You have a plus button here. So moment you click on plus button, this particular chart type will come on your canvas, right? And then you have an option of editing it or modifying it the way you want it, right? You can also keep on adding different columns to this, different attributes to this, right? So it can be more like progressive, and we'll see it in the further demo. Yeah. So this is where you can enlarge it in case you want to analyze it, right? And if I want to add a new column to this, right? So I click on that add button, and then I can. So now this is a progressive search that is inbuilt in the AI assistant. So moment I said add field and I'm typing opportunity, it gives me all the attributes for the dimensions and the facts, right? So if you look at the first one, it says opportunity actual close date. On the right hand side, it tells you that uh, this is the subject area. Under this subject area, this is the particular folder, and then what is the attribute. So this is a progressive sort of suggestion that automatically comes as you start typing in while you are trying to add a field to the above chart that you generated. right? So I'm trying to add a field which is opportunity owner name. Right, and then it would basically add the opportunity owner name to the top 10 opportunities. Now, I mean, if I want to change the view here, I can say change chart type, and I can just change it to say something like a table just for simplistic readability. Right, so I said change chart type to table. So, I mean, these are just simple features, but this makes life very easier for someone who is trying to do some quick analysis or trying to build a new dashboard. Right, I'm trying to add one more field here, which is I want the primary sales owner for this, or primary sales account for all these opportunities. Now, as I said, you can basically click on this plus button, right? And this particular table comes on your main canvas, right? So this can act as your starting point for basically generating some dashboards or for your quick analysis that you want to do, right? And then if you are using Unity for activation, right, or for segmentation, uh, you can also generate like a Excel out of this and then feed into Unity or basically upload into Eloqua. So this can act like a crude segmentation way in case you want to use it that way, right? So these are out of the box feature. The exporting feature is the out of the box feature that FDI provides, right? So this list will be exported in Excel, and then you can basically upload it into, say, something like a Unity system or Eloqua system directly, right? So this can act like a crude way of segmentation as well in case you want to use it that way. So yeah, I think these were the demos that we want to showcase today. Back to you, Blair.
Thanks, Mayank. Just grabbing the screen back here. Before we get to some live Q&A, just wanted to pop this up for everybody. There's an opportunity for Oracle customers to try Fusion Analytics for free. We will give you 1 week, one out-of-the-box use case, a specific AI use case. I know that's a very hot topic these days, and one workshop session. So we have a QR code, on the screen. So feel free to grab your smartphone, take a picture of that, or there's a link below if anything goes weird. We're all now used to ordering at restaurants with these things, but some people like a good old URL, myself included. So I'm just going to leave this up here. But we had a few questions come in through the chat box or through the Q&A box. One of them, and Becky, I don't want to put you on the spot, but there was a great question that you answered via text, but I wanted to kind of shout it out for everybody in case other people were curious. We had a question come in around timeline to implementation and how much was usable out of the box. I don't know if you would mind just kind of verbally reiterating, for everybody else, your answer for that.
Yeah, sure. So we had our kickoff in July and we launched around December, January, and probably more January, but there were some holidays in there. But everything out of the box was usable. And then even beyond that, we added some complexities and features that we work with Naren and team to help us through, which added to that timeline. So I think Naren had a follow-up, like now that some of those kinks are sorted out, the timeline would even be shorter. And to just add one more note, like Experian, we've got a lot of security. We've got a lot of anomalies. Our Salesforce does not look like any other Salesforce you've seen. Like we are very unique and almost everything is custom. So I would say we're on the longer end of the timeline of any other org.
Yeah, I'll just add to it. But basically, the project was very interesting, frankly, right? So when we connected to Salesforce, 4 million opportunities, no problem at all. But with the Eloqua, I think there were like a lot of contexts which were not used at Experian. So we reduced the set to 27 million contacts because they had a lot of contacts. And the activities as well, frankly, it took a while to load. It was taking a lot of time. So we have to change tune the page size and things like that on our side from an API perspective. So we do timeout. So the first time load, it took some engineering cycles for us to tune the system, because the volumes were kind of massive. But that added like additional time to the project. But the system is designed in such a way it will scale We do chunking and things like that, that we expect the new customer probably half of the time will take for what Becky is for phase one.
Another question for our Experian guests. I know you guys mentioned that you have multiple business units using the platform, working together, which is great. We had a question around how many active users you currently have. A ballpark is fine, and obviously you said you had plans to add more. Is there a timeline for that?
Yeah, so right now we have 4 business units, as you mentioned, and we have roughly 5 users each, so about 20. And then we're planning to expand it to around 75, which includes other sales folks and marketers so that they go in there and view or build other dashboards as needed.
And a related question for our side, for Naren, are you able to add security controls or restrict specific content to specific users and roles, especially if you have different business units, different users at different levels using the tool?
Yeah, that's a great question, Blair. I think, see, if you go to any system out there, when you extract, you might have full control on, let's say, Eloqua or Salesforce, right? They have sharing rules in Salesforce. But the moment you extract the data, all is out of the water and everything is visible to everybody, right? So we realized that. So our goal for the system is to propagate whatever you might have set up on the transactional side. So if you have set up some users and security roles on Salesforce or Eloqua, we'll bring those in and we'll try to recreate those roles in the system itself so that you don't have to do security framework work. But in some cases, if you're not able to do it or you want to add additional users, give them different rights. So there's a full-blown security framework in the product where you can create application roles, duty roles, groups, and so on and so forth, like any other system. And then that's where you can control the security of the system.
Thanks. Back for Becky and Nan.
Can I also address?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I think, see, what is happening at Experian is we are driven by marketing. So all this work that we have done is actually for marketing team, and then as Nan mentioned, different business units. But they probably realize is they also have Salesforce reports in the system as well, right? So I think it's an opportunity for other customers as well to explore that maybe we can have sales teams use the system as well. And as Becky pointed out, once the sales team and market team are looking at the same KPI, suddenly the dynamics changes between the team because they're looking at the same KPI and trusting the same KPI as well, right? So in other words, the product is designed to actually, in a way, expand not only to marketing but the sales team as well, I guess.
And I can add to that too. Like it would work really well because if you're used to building reports in Salesforce, you're dependent on the report type and what fields you can bring in and all of those things. CX Analytics, just as you saw in the demo, like all of the subject areas are available on the left side, and all of those attributes you can do more than you can in Salesforce. Now it's easier in Salesforce. Your org has access and whatnot. Sometimes Salesforce makes sense, but for those more complex reports where you're doing cross filters and you're kind of limited, CX would work great for that.
Yeah, Becky, exactly. So like the sellers might still use Salesforce for operational reporting, right? But I can think of managers or sales ops or revenue ops. They probably use our tool because they can mash up very easily, I guess, as you mentioned.
Speaking of Salesforce subject areas, Becky and Nan, I was wondering if you guys could let us know which subject areas were most important for you guys to bring over from Salesforce into CX Analytics, and were those available out of the box?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, the main ones we focused on were the Salesforce opportunities, the opportunity table, the campaigns, and the campaign membership subject areas. And that's kind of what we showed earlier in the slide where, we were able to see all the opportunities and which campaigns influence them by the specific business units.
Thanks, guys. And we got one more for Naren here. I know you mentioned earlier on a slide that we're able to bring in, HCM, ERP, SCM data from other Fusion applications. Are you able to look at that all, on one view with CX data with this tool?
Yeah, that's a good question again, Blair. So we did try to show that with Account 360 as well. Again, the real value of the system is that, assuming if you don't use our system, then you'll have to extract this data into a warehouse And then your team has to understand the data model of each individual system. So they will have to look at ERP, look at the general ledger, account payables, account receivables, look at different dimensions, and then create a lot of join queries. And frankly, it takes like several years for a team to get it right, right? So since we are Oracle, we understand the data model very well. We have what they call a TCA model. We use party as a mechanism which goes across multiple systems. And then when we create the data model on our side, we'll lay out the star schema in such a way that, as you mentioned, Blair, the ERP data, the supply chain data, the HCM data, right? All is kind of queryable. So I can pick a particular, let's say, opportunity for a particular customer, then I can pick account payables for that same customer. The system will automatically join that for you, right? So that's what I call revenue intelligence, because you actually are able to have a holistic view. So for a given customer, give me all the campaign activities they've responded to, for example, or for a given account. Give me all the open opportunities. Give me all the orders in flight, for example. Give me all the account receivables. So as a salesperson or even a sales revenue operations, you have like a way to adjust, right? And I was talking to one of our internal sales guy within Oracle, right? He says we don't have that view as well. So when I'm looking at my screens, I would like to have account activities, what's happening from marketing side as well and finance side. That gives the power so that you can figure out, how to interact with the customer.
Thanks, Saren. So that wraps up the questions that we received through the chat box. So, wanted to thank, first of all, our guest from Experian for joining us today. Thank all of our product speakers and presenters and all of you for joining us. Appreciate it. And please reach out if you have any further questions about the product. Would love to see some of you guys sign up for the free trial.
Yeah, we're super grateful again to Becky and Nan and Experian. Wonderful partnership. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day.